What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1041 of Pop Culture Crisis. I hope you guys all had a fantastic weekend. My name is Brett. I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We are back from the weekend. I had a very relaxing weekend, and I actually did end up trying the triple-double crunch wrap at Taco Bell. My mini review is that this is a psyop. They have downsized the original crunch wrap and introduced the triple-double crunch wrap, which is the same size as the old one.
But costs more?
Yeah, but costs more. So I'm just warning all of you that don't get your hopes up. Because this is a false advertising campaign.
I have used beef jerky as like the perfect example of like shrinkflation as things got really bad in 2020 and 2021 into 2022. The beef jerky prices are, as always, that will be my lifetime gauge for whether I've made it or not. If there ever is a day where I can buy beef jerky and not feel like I'm spending an arm and a leg, I'll know that I've officially made it in life. That I don't know if that's even possible. I really don't. I imagine that Jeff Bezos at least checks his bank account right before he goes and buys some beef jerky.
I do think that is true of a lot of like the mega wealthy. They are still very frugal, even though they have no reason to be.
Well, that's how they got there. That's how they got there by pinching pennies and being cheap.
Pinching pennies, I don't know. I mean, it certainly helps, but I don't think that's how Jeff Bezos made his fortune.
We were in Tyson's Corner over the weekend at the mall. And you just drive around some of those houses out there. You know, once you go into like Loudoun County, obviously, not even the Loudoun County over by, but the farther out, it's just, they're not even houses. They're castles. They're basically just giant castles.
Yeah.
And I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, which defense contractor lives at that address?
Good for them. It's all the feds live there. I'm sure they're having a great time. They go to the farmer's market on Sunday.
Well,
yeah.
The one, I don't know what freeway it is, but they've got like giant walls built on the freeway to prevent, so like no sound can get in there. Like they can afford to erect giant sound barriers and of course to prevent people from being able to see in at whatever debaucherous shit is going on in there. Probably a giant grinder meeting for all we know, but I
feel like Hollywood is a little bit more eyes wide shut than Loudoun County, but that's just my theory.
Yeah, I don't know. It's, if from all the rumors you hear about what it's like whenever there's a Republican conference.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Started on that.
We have 20 here from Shane H. Wilder. He says, "Happy Monday, Brett and Mary. So a certain YouTube channel that may be a psyop apparently loves the I have don't click a phobia, an irrational fear of a internet show. It pops up in my feed and I run away screaming like a little girl."
Well, that is the only correct reaction when an internet show clip pops up in your feed, is to run away.
And I did not read May psyop wrong. That's what it says on there, so Shane can't yell at me for not reading it correctly today. So.
I realized that I just take creative liberties with the Superchats if they're grammatically incorrect. I just auto-correct it with my brain.
Yeah,
so
that's okay.
I usually don't even notice things like that.
All right, guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but as always, before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Share the episodes out with everybody in your life that you both love and the people in your life that you hate. The more people that you share the show with, the faster we can grow. So thank you guys so much for that. What are we getting into today? Well, I guess the biggest story is Melania Trump looking to silence Jimmy Kimmel after a skit that he performed 2 days before the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Has some iffy material in there. And obviously, I'm sure most people, if you're watching the show, you know what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner over the weekend. We'll get into it. We are also going to talk about Gina Carano. She had some conversations with the people behind the scenes at Star Wars, and the fans of Star Wars, like the shill fans of Star Wars, are none too happy with the idea of an alt-right Yahtzee apparently coming back and working for Star Wars again, which is of course absurd because Gina Carano is none of those things, but we'll get into it. Also, I decided to include this clip of people predicting that The Mandalorian and Grogu could make not one, but $2 billion at the box office. That's what somebody
Two.
said. That's what somebody said. So somebody said $1 billion. Don't be surprised if it made two. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. The predictions are about 70 million opening domestic, but don't let that get in the way of it.
I thought that it was like almost guaranteed a success because of Baby Yoda syndrome.
I don't think people care anymore.
No? Is that dead?
Well, I just don't think they care anymore. I don't think it's going to make $2 billion at the box office. That's
you think it'll make one?
No.
Just 1 billion?
No.
No.
Look, none of the, unless somebody can point to a movie that I'm not thinking of, but none of the non-trilogy movies, none of the anthology movies made $1 billion, did they? I don't know how much Rogue One made, but I don't think any of those movies made $1 billion. And this is more akin to an anthology movie than it is to a traditional Star Wars story. But I don't think it's going to make $1 billion. But hey, I could be wrong. So we'll talk about it. We're also going to talk about a young woman. Well, not a young woman. She's what? She's my age. So I'm not young, but Hannah Murray.
I think she's in her late 30s.
So she was in Game of Thrones. She was in a show called Skins, and she escaped a cult, a wellness cult, which seems like the newest kind of group you need to look out for. She needs to run out of there the way they were running in and out of that Scientology building that we covered on Friday. So we'll talk about that. We've got some other stuff to get into. If you're ready, we can go. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Well, let's go for it then.
Yeah, so in case any of you were blissfully unaware over the weekend, the official White House Correspondents' Dinner had to be evacuated because of a shooter. And some people are theorizing on Twitter. They're coming up with all sorts of conspiracies about who was involved. But the suspect is not, he was detained and taken out. And there's a bunch of theories about, Jimmy Kimmel being involved, Erica Kirk is involved, and I just had zero energy to entertain any of that over the weekend. What is weird, though, is that Jimmy Kimmel seemed to make a foreshadowing remark about this taking place just a couple of days before the dinner took place. He was doing a skit on his show where he was pretending he was the comedian that was invited to perform there.
Though it wasn't a comedian. It was Dr. Oz. It was like a mentalist guy. It wasn't even a comedian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't even a comedian.
But did he actually go up on stage, or was the place evacuated before that even happened?
I don't know. I don't know if he was already on stage yet. I'm not sure of the timeline of events.
Traditionally, it is supposed to be a comedian. I don't know what happened there, but he did this skit where they panned to different clips of Trump and Melania in the audience, and he's pretending to make jabs at them. And one of the things that he says in the clip in regard to Melania is that she has the glow of an expectant widow. Do we want to play the clip, or are we just going to skip that entirely?
I don't want to get copyright claims, so I say we just skip it.
Let's just not. So
it's cut together. You can see the image of it right here, of like what it looks like when he's talking, and then he says it, and then it cuts to other footage of her.
Yeah. So during the segment, it says Kimmel joked that Melania looked like an expectant widow, and later quipped that she would spend her birthday looking out a window and whispering, "What have I done?" He also poked fun at their relationship, pretending they had just met, and said, "Oh, by the way, Melania, this is Donald. Donald, this is Melania." He made a bunch of jokes about how they're allegedly, BFFs with Jeffrey Epstein, all of the stuff that you would normally expect from Kimmel. It was painfully unfunny when it aired, and even less funny after the shooting took place. Mm-hmm. And it does kind of ring a bell, like predictive programming. I think sometimes coincidences just happen like this. I wouldn't say Kimmel was in any way involved in what happened, and thankfully nobody got hurt or killed. But Melania then, decided to put out a statement calling on ABC to once again take Jimmy Kimmel off the air.
Which, by the way, before we get into this, just make no bones about it. Nobody loves this more than Jimmy Kimmel because it keeps him relevant, and it makes him look like more important than he actually is.
Absolutely. So I'm going to read this statement, and do you think it would be offensive to use the accent?
Do the accent. Do the
Or
accent.
is it offensive and I'm just going to do it anyway? I don't know.
It's good. You're good.
Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country. His monologue about my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and deepens the political sickness within America. People like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. A coward, Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows the network will keep running cover to protect him. Enough is enough. It is time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel's atrocious behavior at the expense of our community?
Okay.
So that was the statement in full. And it should be mentioned that if ABC actually responded to this, complying with her demand to take Kimmel off the air, and then on the condition that a Democrat wins in the next general election, they would just, put him back on the air after that.
Greg Duvier in the chat says you sound like her.
Lower ratings without a Republican in office to talk about, but
you sound like
a permanent decision regardless.
The chat is saying you sound like her, which of course you do.
I tried my best. I watched her documentary and used that as my training material. I remember she did this stream before the movie started, addressing all of the different cities that had early screenings. And she said, "Nashville, I know you are having a great time right now." I love her accent and I love Melania, to be clear. I'm not trying to mock her in any sort of mean-spirited way. But this is a misguided response, in my opinion. And I also don't think that ABC realistically is going to do anything about his joke.
Well, no. The thing is if they do, you just give. This is the same thing that happened with Kimmel before, with Brendan Carr. There's other stuff with Brendan Carr going on right now with Netflix and their rating systems for kids programs. And that seems like a more worthwhile use of your time than something like this, which is very clearly going to fall under the First Amendment. And you can talk all you want about radicalization, but if we're talking about signal boosting, you signal boost Kimmel's message. And I saw other people walking it back as well. Did you see Bruce Springsteen was like, "I am so glad that nothing happened to Donald Trump," like 10 seconds after he probably called him a Nazi the last time? Which just kind of proves there's a huge gap in their logic, which is like, if you actually believed he was a Nazi, you wouldn't feel bad about this, but you don't think he's a Nazi. You just think that politically speaking, he represents something you dislike. Otherwise, you wouldn't be walking it back. You'd be like, "Oh, that's what happens to people that are alt-right or whatever." But they don't actually mean it most of the time. It's a rallying cry so that Bruce Springsteen can sell gazillion-dollar tickets and $90 $90 No Kings merch at his concerts.
I hadn't heard that about Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah. He said that he said, "Thank goodness that nothing happened to Donald Trump." It's like, okay, well, it's at odds with everything else you're saying. But look, if the idea here is like, is it just about this particular skit? Because that doesn't seem to be what she's referring to here. She's referring more in general to him as a whole. Yeah. But if that's true, then the right has their Greg Gutfelds who push back on the other side of the aisle. Maybe not against one specific person, but both sides are doing it. And in this case, it's a free speech matter. And I'm not going to fall. Do I think that it's in bad taste? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not going to push for more government overreach than there already is.
Well, that was the main point of contention when Kimmel was taken off the air in September, where people were arguing about whether there was some sort of push from the executive to take him off the air and censor him unconstitutionally, when in reality, it was the private broadcasting entities that were behind the decision, not the government. And that was the main reason people were debating about whether it was lawful. It, of course, was in that scenario. And I wouldn't be losing any sleep if he didn't get his show back in September.
Well,
but
and that's the thing. But like, if he fails, I'd rather it be because the public roundly rejects him and doesn't want to watch his garbage. But you know who ends up making it more relevant is Trump whenever he gets into these spats, which looks bad for government overreach and doesn't help him because all it does is make Kimmel more relevant than he would be if he just let him languish in TV mediocrity. Trump did respond to this, by the way. I don't know. I sent you this. I don't know if you saw this.
Okay.
He says, wow, and I'll try to read it because sometimes it's very hard to read Trump quotes. He says, wow, Jimmy Kimmel, who is in no way funny as attested to by his terrible television ratings, made a statement on his show that is really shocking. He showed a fake video of the First Lady, Melania, and our son, Barron, like they were actually sitting in his studio listening to him speak, which they weren't and never would be. He then stated, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania. So beautiful, Miss Trump. You have a glow like an expectant widow. A day later, a lunatic tried entering the ballroom of the White House correspondent dinner, loaded with a shotgun, handgun, and many knives. He was there for a very obvious and sinister reason. I appreciate that so many people are incensed by Kimmel's despicable call to violence, and normally would not be responsive to anything that he said, but this is something far beyond the pale. Jimmy Kimmel should be immediately fired by Disney and ABC. But the thing is, he said, I appreciate that so many people are incensed by Kimmel's despicable call to violence and normally would not be responsive. He's not saying that about himself because he's always calling for Jimmy Kimmel to be fired. He's always calling for all late night show hosts to be fired. So he's talking about other people, not him.
Well, that was more about the specific joke than Melania's statement addressed the joke. It's kind of ridiculous that he felt the need to clarify to everyone that Melania was not, in fact,
and never would
in
be
the audience at Kimmel's taping. Like, everyone knew that already. Thank you for clarifying. I mean, my first thought related to, pop culture, entertainment after this happened was, are they going to postpone the Savant again?
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought as well. Doesn't look like they are.
This is a bad time. Like, it's always going to be a bad time.
I wanted somebody to post like the Ben Affleck meme, smoking a cigarette, but make it Jessica Chastain from the Savant.
That's literally her right now. Like, is it ever going to be a situationally appropriate time to release the Savant on Apple TV?
Apparently not. It's never going to happen.
Every time they reschedule this damn show, another leftist act of violence occurs in the country. So maybe it's just time to call it quits. Just give up. It's never going to be a good time for this. The Karens cannot have their way this time.
I don't...
at this point, it would be such a bad look that they're just going to have to put it through anyway. Yeah. And hopefully not get as much backlash as they were fearing.
They're like, no, they need to put it through and then hope that nothing bad happens in the world in the lead up to the release. They're like, you know what? We were going to release the episodes weekly, but there's too much of a risk that something will happen one of those weeks. So we're just going to dump it all onto Apple. Is it Apple TV? They're like, we're going to dump it all onto Apple TV all at once and just get this over with to make sure that nothing bad happens in the meantime.
Yeah, so I think they stated that it was set to release in July this year, right?
That sounds right.
Well, I'm not saying that I hope for this to happen, but just being realistic, there are probably going to be more, politically motivated attacks.
Especially now that
in the meantime,
summer is here, weather's nicer, people are, protest season is here. It's what's going to happen.
Election year, it's just going to be a bad time no matter what time they pick.
Yep, and the thing is like I said before, nobody loves this more than Kimmel, who gets all the more attention and relevance. His show is kept alive mostly, like, as bad as the ratings are. His clips, from what I understand, do very well on social media. Like the YouTube clips and stuff like that. It's kind of the same, not with Bill Maher, but with like Jon Stewart and them. Would they live by the clips? Yeah, they live by the clips now, not by the live viewership for their shows.
But that's not what brings in the revenue. The revenue is all from advertising on network TV.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yeah, Jessica Chastain's at home right now, like not answering the phone, hoping that it's not Apple TV calling to say that they're canceled again.
Like, listen, we gave you a second chance, but this just isn't gonna work out between us. It's not you, it's me.
All right, let's move on. Snark threads.
Yeah, so this is only tangentially related to Erica Kirk. It's just sort of what got my gears turning about this subject to begin with over the weekend. There was this horrible video showing Erica Kirk getting evacuated from the correspondence dinner after the shooting. And of course, she is rattled, understandably, as almost anyone would be. She's crying. And I mean, this is a normal reaction for any woman there, or especially the one whose husband got brutally assassinated in a shooting less than a year ago. But there were still people using this as fodder to attack her and ridicule her. One of the responses that got the most attention was captioned, "The most performative woman who ever lived," as if crying after a shooting is performative. I think, needless to say, that's just seriously demonic to say about somebody, especially after the past 8 months of her getting endlessly dragged and defamed online. But what I noticed over those past 8 months is that most of the attacks against her have come from women. And that goes across the political spectrum. Obviously, there are women on the left who are going to attack her because she's right-wing. But it's kind of irrelevant what side of the political aisle you're on, because this is part of a larger pattern that I've noticed in women's online behavior. Obviously, not all women who are online. I'm intensely online and I don't engage in this behavior, but it's called snarking. And I'll just read my tweet to begin with about how this came up in my algorithm. So I said, the majority of character assassination, gossip, and mockery directed at Erica Kirk has been perpetuated by women, regardless of political affiliation. They do the same thing to other women all the time, but it's not nearly as heinous when they go after far less sympathetic characters like Meghan Markle. Frivolous commentary about outfits, makeup, ex-boyfriends, it's embarrassing. Ironic coming from a pop culture commentator, maybe, but these women do this for sick thrills, doom scrolling for countless hours, and align themselves with a massive online community of snark threads. It's a bigger problem than people realize. To be clear, I don't feel particularly bad for Meghan Markle, but the real problem here is a toxic pattern of women's online behavior. In their view, there is no relevant difference between Erica Kirk and Meghan Markle or any random LA influencer or reality TV star. Snark is snark. Gossip is their life force. They feed on it. They gossip about their real life friends, if they had any. And snark is basically trolling for women. I don't think troll is an adequate descriptor of these people, but they have entirely separate lives that they live online, and they are usually anonymous, and usually this takes place on Reddit. So here's just a selection of some of the most popular snark threads. There are LA influencer snark, NYC influencer snark, Fundy snark uncensored, that refers to fundamentalists. So a lot of people go to that subreddit to talk about like the Duggars from 19 Kids and Counting, but also people like Ballerina Farm. And then there's the oldest snark subreddit called Blog Snark, which is back when you would call an influencer a blogger back in the day. And there's another one that is just dedicated to Ariana Grande snark. There are some snark threads that are dedicated to an individual, but a lot of them are just an amalgamation of like tons of different influencers in different parts of the country. And there have been some that took it too far and ended up getting banned on the platform. There is one called Madia Snark that was about Brianna Madia, a Utah-based van life influencer. In March 2023, she posted a video describing how she was doxxed by users from that subreddit and stated that it made her suicidal. She then released the names of 25 snarkers from that subreddit and revealed her discovery in October 2021 that her then husband had posted on the snark subreddit. It was later taken down by moderators.
Wait, why? Why did her husband post on it?
I suppose that he wanted to snark on his own wife, anonymously.
So he's like just a really bad person.
I suppose so. I mean, these are all bad people, but it's especially bad because, you know, he actually knows her in real life. Another influencer, Lily Chapman, posted a series of videos about her experiences with Snark content about her, in which she stated that she had 9 separate Snark pages dedicated to her and that they prompted her to pursue legal action. The subreddit Snarking on the Snarkers was created to critique other Snark subreddits for bullying and harassment. In 2025, the New York Times reported on a Snark subreddit dedicated to a 25-year-old influencer with stage 4 cancer, which analyzed many details of her posts under the false belief that she was faking cancer and leveraging her claim of having cancer for financial gain and sympathy. This included creating a 28-page timeline purporting to show inconsistencies in her story. But the New York Times confirmed her diagnosis with her oncologist, and the subreddit was, of course, banned after they contacted the platform. And by the way, this is a story that we did not end up covering last year, but a YouTuber named Michaela Rains, who ran the channel Save a Fox, ended her own life that year. And there were speculations that it was at least in part prompted by the influence of Snark subreddits that were dedicated to her. And vast majority of the users on them are women. All of these are majority women posting about famous women. And it's usually out of pure envy, bitterness, hatred. They're saying the most vile things. And sometimes they are talking about people who are quite vile themselves. I mean, we talk about influencers on this channel all the time and their scandals and controversies and missteps. But I think there's a serious difference between what we do, given that this is our job, and we're trying to stay factual, and what they do, where they're spending sometimes hours, maybe the majority of their waking hours on these threads, speculating, insulting, and engaging in this like gleeful pleasure over taking someone down and degrading them. And The Cut actually published last year interviews with some of the anonymous snarkers, as they're called, and the motivations behind this behavior. Like, why do you spend your free time doing this? Isn't it a little bit self-destructive? So they said the subreddits NYC influencer Snark and LA influencer Snark strike fear into the heart of any content creator whose name appears in their endless comment threads. Here, anonymous users share their unfiltered and sometimes unhinged thoughts about influencers, regardless of whether they follow them, like them, or even know who they are, for upwards of 145 members to see. One mom in her 30s tells me she reads these Snark pages every morning over her cup of coffee while she breastfeeds her baby.
Feels like that would like weigh on your soul eventually.
Yeah, definitely. She claims, I'm taking the temperature of pop culture, but what exactly drives people to breathlessly speculate about the cause of TikToker Aspen Ovard's divorce or ruthlessly dissect every post from podcaster Alex Earl? We asked 5 Redditors how they fell down this rabbit hole and what drives them to snark. And the recurring theme here is that even if these women have jobs and families and real life friends, they neglect all of those things and direct all of the negative energy within their souls into this anonymous platform. They enjoy being anonymous. Many of them admit that because they're anonymous in these interviews. And they claim that, you know, internally they are kind of embarrassed of this behavior and they would never share it with their real life friends or family. And they also don't talk about influencers that they hate with their real life friends because their real life friends don't care. And they shouldn't either. Like, part of that admission that none of the people you actually care about pay attention to this stuff is that you shouldn't either. You should probably direct your energy and effort and thought, your mind share, to something more important and fulfilling than this. But yet they still pour themselves into this. They also published something about Snark Reddit in The Guardian in 2020. This was back when a lot of these threads gained the most popularity because people were locked in their homes and had nothing better to do. The membership of a lot of these threads like doubled and tripled at that time. And this journalist, Katie Keller, said that she had to go cold turkey off of Snark content because it was destroying her life. She said, "It's 3 a.m. and I'm on Reddit. I'm reading a thread of comments that number in the thousands, scrolling through unpopular opinions. I'm reading about the women on this season of The Bachelor. The commenters rip apart their fashion choices, faces, debating endlessly about whether this woman had fillers, that woman had Botox. I'm breastfeeding my baby." That seems to be a theme. "And that's the only reason I'm up this late. While she eats, I'm feeding myself a steady stream of secondhand bile, anger, and jealousy. For months, this is how I entertained myself, in the dark by the light of my phone, as I watched mobs of anonymous users pick at various women, dissecting their choices and appearances, all under the guise of enlightened snark. They tended to alight on certain types of women, people who were outwardly successful or rather privileged. And that's what a lot of women that were interviewed anonymously said. They're basically just jealous that these women, the influencer class, don't have to work as hard to afford luxurious vacations, countless designer bags and clothes. They get showered with brand deals and free PR packages. And basically, they're just bitter that someone else has it easier than them and they have to work hard to make a living. But, you know, that doesn't do anything for you and it doesn't do anything for society either. Sometimes these anonymous snarkers could be very funny. Sometimes they made interesting points. But more often, they were just mean, and I found it so compelling. Until one day I realized I was hiking my shoulders up and clenching my muscles in my back for extended periods of time. I realized that strange, slightly ill feeling in my stomach corresponded with how much time I was spending lurking online. I realized that I had been sharpening my internal claws, thinking meaner and meaner thoughts about the people on my screens and in my life. So just like that, I stopped. But even after I stopped looking, I kept wondering, why did I like this? What made me want to know so much about notorious Instagram influencer Caroline Calloway in the first place? Why was I so invested in how Bachelor contestant Victoria Fuller conducted her sex life? What was it about these dramas that made me want to watch? And what was it about these women that inspired so much gleeful pleasure? So I think part of the reason why this is such a popular mode of communication for women online is that they're pushing back on a culture of like toxic positivity. Like that is certainly a problem in and of itself, that you're expected to support everything that other women do and be a girl's girl, and it's women supporting women and a woman can do no wrong. So they're finding this seedy outlet to finally criticize another woman when they sometimes actually do deserve to be held accountable for their actions. But in most cases, probably like 99% of cases, it just spirals into not accountability, but sadism. And that's basically how she defined it in this think piece, is that it's not really even schadenfreude, because you're not merely witnessing someone's downfall and feeling glad that it's not you. You're actively participating in causing it and enjoying that as well as an active participant. So it's really more akin to sadism. And they mentioned, by the way, that this is like a cognitive emotion, which is different from our primal responses of like fear and disgust. It's one that you have control over and can calibrate, and that you can actually channel into something positive and constructive if you want to.
Can you give an example of what that would look like?
Well, she gets into this later in the piece and says, "There are emotions that we're capable of thinking about, unlike the primal responses of fear or disgust. We have an element of power over our schadenfreude, envy, or vanity. We're not helpless in the face of these pains and joys. We can control them if we think about it hard enough. We can channel that energy into other outlets. We can log off and not look. We can even temper our contempt with empathy and maybe even replace it with compassion." And
compassion doesn't fulfill the same catharsis. It's an evil form of catharsis, but it is a form of catharsis for some people to do something like that. And I do believe that even what we do here, which is that I try to take as analytical of an approach, especially for like if we were to look at the topics that you choose versus the topics that I choose, yours tend to be more individual focused towards people or relationships. Mine, if you go and look at episodes where like on the days when you're not here, like a Tuesday or a Thursday, they tend to be industry focused or idea focused. And that's probably just a virtue of men and women find different things. Like when a story involves getting into the nitty gritty of like a person's individual private life, my brain turns off. Like, it's interesting in the context of the way that you will phrase it when we talk about it, but I have almost zero interest in looking into the individual nuances of a person's private life as it regards to like a story that we're covering. But like we did videos last week, Ben Affleck diagnosing the problems in Hollywood and things like that. That's more the concept of an idea, and I do find that when it's focused on individuals, and it's not getting, and it doesn't detach from the individual and become more about outward stories. Like even when we covered Elizabeth Banks, right? It's not attacking Elizabeth Banks as a person. It's attacking, the public statements that she made and how they contradict things said prior. When we cover the stuff that's just individuals, like I feel sometimes like I need a shower.
Yeah.
Like it weighs on you in a way. And that's why I try to keep it as analytical as possible, because I don't have that ability to broad brush in the way that, and to be fair, people online, I think there's a different set of focus when you're doing it as a show as opposed to offhanded comments that you're making online. I would like to think that if you went through my ex, it's probably more of the same as I just described, but I'm sure I can get a little bit snarky on there from time to time. But that's just because like all things on X, the platform itself doesn't lend itself to expanded thought and more in the lines of hot takes right off the bat. And it weighs on you. And I would recommend against it for these women, just for no other reason, not to be nicer to the other person, but for the good of your own inner well-being.
Yeah. I don't point this out because like, oh, poor Meghan Markle or poor Alex Earl or whoever they're targeting next.
Well, when we talk about Alex Cooper,
self-destructive more than anything.
When we talk about Alex Cooper, right, and we talk about the damage the podcast is doing, it's not sitting there to necessarily inherently shame Alex Cooper. If anything, most of the people in this industry who are capitalists are going to be like, look, you found a market, you're filling a market. That's fine. I'm not going to complain about her, getting her bag, as they say. But it is interesting to analyze what men choose to talk about on a podcast versus what women choose to talk about on a podcast, and analyze what that does for their own gender.
Absolutely. And I think the way that the differences between like the way that men and women think, if we're making sweeping generalizations, is like very evident in the dynamic between the two of us. And I think it's part of what makes this podcast interesting to watch. We don't agree about everything and we aren't interested in the exact same things. I think people and relationships are the most fascinating things in the world. And I love talking about those things. And that's evident in, female versus male friendships. Like the way that men bond is usually over a shared project, or they discuss large macro concepts, things that are related to, numbers, for instance, like sports or industries or work. And then when women get together, they do like talking about relationships, and conversation is a form of bonding in and of itself. So there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It just means that we have different vices that appeal to us the most on a broad scale. And for women, it is gossip. It is character assassination, shaming. It is this type of behavior, and it found a perfect home on social media. Yet we still have this popular narrative that men are to blame for the majority of toxicity online. it's only because this isn't receiving the attention that it should get. Like, this is why I said it's a bigger problem than people realize. That their girlfriends, friends, wives are doing this. They have separate online lives that are totally anonymous, dedicated to hate threads, to Snark. And I think if they fall deep enough into it, the signs are definitely visible, and it does not merely start and end with influencers. As this woman in The Guardian even admitted, being on these Snark threads gave her mean thoughts about influencers, but it also changed the way that she thought about people in her own life. So it's more self-destructive than anything. I'm sure that these influencers that they're talking about on these threads are doing just fine, but they're destroying their own lives and their own souls when they do this. And I just mentioned Erica Kirk at the beginning because that's kind of what got my gears turning about this. She really, in their minds, is no different from like Bethany Frankel. Like they think that she's just another one of the Real Housewives. She's just another one of the, Bachelor contestants. She's just another.
It used to be that the only people you saw online on your phone, I guess not on your phone, but on a screen was a movie star, a television star, a news reporter, and you might have your own comments to make about them. And then there became reality TV stars where the whole idea was they were famous for nothing. And then the line between real world and private life became blurred. And now that's further blurred to include literally every human being on Earth who you see as an avatar and not a living, breathing individual. And we're just seeing the natural consequences of that.
Definitely.
All right, let's move on. What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see the cringe first.
Okay. All right.
This is a pretty good one. It's a musical cringe, which I know you love.
I mean, it doesn't look like there's a live audience, so that's what would really bother me. But here we go. It says, I got married super young in a religion before I even knew myself, and I'm grieving a life I never got to have.
Never had a threesome. Never spent the night in jail.
She's regretting her life choices right now.
Someone commented, this is what people mean when they're talking about their religious trauma.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, they told me that I shouldn't have a threesome or go to jail.
We've got a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. Says women's conversations are generally more connective. Oh, I had the same experience, and men conversations are more hierarchical. Can you top this? Once I figured this out, I communicated with women a lot better.
Yeah, it's not like there's something wrong with the way that women think or communicate or the way that men think or communicate. It's just different and lends to different, toxicity on social media.
And for cute of the day, we have this picture from, is it Gastrowiak? Anyways, it's a dog named Doug, and it's very cute.
Wait, a dog named Dog?
Doug.
Oh, I got confused for a second. Love the ears.
Very cute. Very cute. All right. Let's go ahead and get started then. Gina Carano is back. Actually, I mean, she's going to be back in the news more because she's got a fight coming up.
Absolutely. Gina Carano's comeback is in full swing. She is back doing media appearances because she's promoting her upcoming fight with Ronda Rousey. But in a recent interview, she was talking with Ariel Helwani about possibly returning to the Star Wars franchise and revealed the following. She said she's already had a conversation with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Really lovely. After we settled the lawsuit, we got on a Zoom call. It was really nice. Dave Filoni taking over CEO of Star Wars. And it's like we didn't even miss a beat. And Jon Favreau was really funny. He got on the Zoom like, so where did we leave off? And we hadn't spoken for a while. And it was as if nothing ever happened. So it's just wild to think that it was already 5 years ago that she was mobbed by pronoun people. Those people like barely even exist or have a voice anymore. They expand on this and say, for a company that usually shuts doors and throws away the key, even a friendly Zoom call suggests that Disney is at least willing to keep the door cracked. Gina did not confirm a return as Cara Dune, and there's no official project tied to her name. Still, this is the first real sign that the ice might be thawing. But this was followed by a deluge of responses from Gina Carano's haters, who somehow still exist. I don't understand how these people still have the energy to talk about, you know, the pronoun thing and the Holocaust thing. It's just like I just don't even have the energy to rehash this anymore. But here were some of the responses from the most unhinged people. So where did we leave off? I don't know. I think on her comparing herself to a Holocaust victim.
That's not what she did. That's not what she did. By the way, that's not what she did. She basically posted an infographic that was basically like what it said, like the Holocaust didn't start with with train cars. It started when we dehumanized each other and blah blah. It was a generalized statement. It was not about her.
It was about mob mentality.
Yes,
really. It was about the psychology behind what happened, but she wasn't comparing herself to a Holocaust victim. That's ridiculous. Another person said, whenever Gina Carano is brought up, people conveniently leave out the fact that she is a horrible effing actor, which is, you know, your subjective opinion. I, for one, have never watched The Mandalorian.
She was great in Haywire. I love that movie.
Another person said, it's amazing how Star Wars is this massive, expansive universe where you can tell a million different unique stories, and the people in charge of it keep going, we have got to bring back this tertiary side character. But is that something that they would say about Amanda Stenberg?
They would love it if they brought Amanda Stenberg or Manny Jacinto back. They would love it if they brought back any of those characters from The Acolyte. And let's face it, everybody on the right would love them to bring back The Acolyte too, because it would mean tons of views and review episodes.
Absolutely. That would definitely be good for our channel, but I don't think it's going to happen. They just wouldn't have the same ire if that did happen. Another one said, if she comes back and her character doesn't get killed off brutally, I will never return to Star Wars. So that's kind of crazy.
I like the one that says, I swear to God, if they renew MAGA Barbie before The Acolyte.
Wait, what? They're calling her MAGA Barbie?
Apparently she's MAGA Barbie.
Wow. Wear that loud and proud, Gina. Anti-vax Nazi. Okay. It's just like
this one. I like this one. F off Disney.
Totally different universe.
F off Disney Star Wars. As soon as Kathleen stepped down, they'd go full fascist. Oh, who would have guessed? Dave Filoni, a white man, would want MAGA supporter Gina Carano back. F Filoni. And this is why I said a long time ago that they acted as if like people on the right were going to start disliking Dave Filoni. But people have been critical of Dave Filoni on both sides for quite a while now. So, you know, they can't really win. They just don't like the direction that he's taken the TV shows and anything like that.
What sides are there?
Well, there's people who criticize Star Wars that would be on the right, and then there's people that like Star Wars on the left. The people on the left are not fans, are becoming less and less fans of Dave Filoni as the shows have gone on, and obviously the people on the right as well. On the left, I imagine it's more about the shows that the shows that get canceled, like not getting a second season of The Acolyte.
Would you compare that to the sides that are against James Gunn?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Maybe. I mean, maybe a little bit. They're both kind of, James Gunn, I guess, is under Warner Brothers for now, until he's under Paramount. Who knows what that's going to look like. I hope he stays just so they force him to take a picture with David Ellison. I hope that, like, I really do. I hope that he's like, look,
he's gonna be hover handing. He's gonna hover hand David Ellison in the photo.
I want him to be like, look, I really want to make a third, because he's gonna. I think they said that they're in pre-production. Or no, I'm sorry. They just started production on the next Superman movie, Man of Tomorrow. It's like, man, I really want to make 3. I want to make a trilogy. And David Ellison's like, Okay, you can make it under one condition. You have to come to my next luncheon and shake my hand and take a photo. And then we have to see how much he really wants to make a third Superman movie.
Well, speaking of that, I did see some fan casting in the comments. A lot of people want Gina Carano to play the new Wonder Woman. What do you think of that possibility?
I mean, she's probably too old now. Like, they're going to want somebody younger if they want.
Is she not the same age as Gal Gadot?
Gal Gadot was not this age now when she played Wonder Woman in 2017. It's been almost a decade. She's probably too old if they want to keep her for an extent. I know that's my go-to excuse. I say the same thing about Idris Elba, though I think I've walked that back a little bit. I think they could get a couple of good movies out of Idris Elba, but he's too busy playing. Like, they turned his Luthor character from a cop into like a superhero, and now he's playing Luthor again in like Netflix movies. But I think he's too old to be James Bond, and I think he'd be better as a Bond villain. Gina Carano, maybe they should do that. Maybe they should flip it on its head and have her play a villain.
Like, do you have a fan cast?
We'd have to fan cast her for a good villain. I'd like people in the chat to let me know who they'd want her to play. But I would like to see her go and do something outside of superheroes and maybe build her own career outside of that.
This response from somebody with the trans flag colors in their screen name was, I think, the funniest. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are absolute effing losers for this. Just lost any remaining respect I had for them, even for talking to her. She is a fucking chud, a dog shit actress, and a horrible person. Nothing y'all make will ever be close to Andor, and it's because you have no principles.
I mean, that, to be fair, Andor,
like, just calling her a chud is so funny to me.
To be fair, like, that absolutely was the purpose of Andor, though, to be like a anti-fascist show.
Yeah, the thing is, it wasn't like popular in the numbers. It was just popular amongst the people who watched it.
Who could they even get Gina Carano to play at DC? She can't play Harley Quinn. She can't play Poison Ivy. You know what? Make Talia al Ghul white again. There you go. We'll do that.
Well, I don't think you can unrace swap anybody. I haven't seen that happen yet. Except to Velma, actually, in the new Scooby-Doo.
Chat, let me know who you think she should, who you think Gina Carano could play as a villain in DC. Could she play Killer Frost? Maybe she could play Killer Frost. I don't know. It would be funny though. They should do that. Actually, you know what? She could maybe play Black Canary if they were to do a Black Canary. But that's not a villain role. But she could play Black Canary.
I don't even think she needs to act at this point. I'm sure she's open to it. I bet she would take the offer, but she doesn't really need that.
If I were her, and she's been very successful in her life. She comes from a very successful family. She seems like an absolute sweetheart. I would just go on the side project hustle and start making all the weird, like, just join Sydney Sweeney in every movie she makes. Just do that. Like, the next time there's a lesbian boxing movie to be made, maybe Gina Carano should be the lesbian boxer.
Hey, that's a good idea. That's a new genre now.
There you go.
Maybe she should take up the family business and just promote online gambling. That's her. I mean, no, I'm not trying to make a dig there. I mean, it's just true. Like, she does come from a very wealthy background from casinos, so I think that would be fitting.
It's annoying to me because out of all the celebrities I can think of, she is like the most like earnest seeming sweetheart that you could possibly, like, she seems too sweet to work in that industry.
Yeah, she's eminently likable and
gets along with everybody.
A very just normal, well-adjusted person. That's probably why she didn't last long in that setting. But I mean, certainly none of these people responding to the headline are normal either. It's not like we need to listen to them. One of them literally has the screen name Lucifer.
Well, there you have it.
Like, thank you for self-reporting so we don't have to listen to you.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. Hannah Murray. If you don't know who that is, you're going to find out now.
Yeah, Hannah Murray is an actress who played Cassie in Skins. This was a British TV drama, and that show ended up creating a starting point for a lot of names that became quite big in the industry, including Daniel Kaluuya, Dev Patel, Nicholas Hoult. It was kind of a star maker of a show. Hannah Murray went on to play Gilly in Game of Thrones, started out as a more tertiary character, and then was moved on to the main cast for the remainder of the show. But suddenly, around 2020, she kind of dropped off the face of the planet and wasn't working anymore without any explanation. And only now have people finally found out part of the real story as to why she stepped out of the spotlight. And it wasn't entirely her choice. It turns out she was the second star from the original Skins cast to end up joining a cult that took away her freedom and her life. Daniel Kaluuya is the other one.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that when it happened, didn't we? I forgot about that.
Very weird pattern there. Daniel Kaluuya allegedly joined a cult under the leadership of a mysterious woman who goes by Air something.
Okay.
I think it was like it was something Air Highness or something. And he ended up firing his entire team at her behest. He stopped getting major roles because he cut ties with his talent agency, allegedly also under her guidance, her advice. So Daniel Kaluuya is another example of that. But Hannah Murray's story is still a little bit murky. We don't know all of the details yet because her memoir is said to shed light on the story. So I want to play this promo video that she published for her memoir in promotion of it.
This one here?
It's pretty disturbing the way that she words this.
Okay.
When I was 27 years old, I was an actor, starring in the HBO fantasy drama Game of Thrones. But my life behind the scenes was where things were truly fantastical, truly unbelievable, truly terrifying. In my memoir, The Make-Believe, I want to tell my story of magic and madness, of a spiritual awakening that turned into a mental breakdown. I want to take readers on the journey I went on, a journey to the edges of reality, into a seductive and dangerous world where magic seems possible. I'm very excited to be sharing my story with you. Books and bookshops have changed my life over and over, lifted my mood, enlightened me, helped me find my way in the world. The work you do connecting books with readers is something I think is vitally important, and I want to say a huge thank you for it. I hope you enjoy The Make-Believe and help it find its way to readers.
Okay.
So one of the responses to this from a fan of hers actually said, wow, it's so sad what happened to her. She played these iconic characters that we all love, but it's so weird that people are saying she fell into a cult because of Hollywood. Well, it's actually not that weird because that's what Hannah Murray herself is saying happened. It's directly related to her experiences as an actress that she was primed to be initiated into a cult. That's just based on the information we currently have. Hollywood is certainly partially to blame for the prevalence of cult activity amongst actors. They share some of the blame. There is no denying that. In her new memoir, Hannah explains that while navigating the pressures of Hollywood, she became involved in a cult-like organization that promised magic, secret knowledge, and increasingly complex rituals. After embarking on a week-long course that isolated her from her loved ones, her mental health deteriorated, and she was later detained in a hospital. She was actually sectioned, I guess, involuntarily held for psychiatric disorder. She was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2017. As boundaries between reality and fantasy began to blur, she describes becoming increasingly drawn into the organization's magical way of thinking, which claimed to offer health and happiness. And part of this story is that she fell in love with the male cult leader. And still, she has not named the cult in question. So there are a lot of guesses as to which one this could have been. She's unlikely to name it because they would probably come after her, as cults tend to do. You can never really truly escape. From her breakout role in Skins to critically acclaimed movies and Game of Thrones, Hannah Murray built a career cracking open her own psychological foundations and pushing her body to its limits. One of the things that she opened up about was the experience of like repeating painful scenes over and over and over. But one day, the line between make-believe and reality disappeared, and she found herself confined to a psych ward, dangerously in love with the leader of a shadowy wellness organization, believing in magic. How she got there and how she managed to rebuild her life is the heart of this powerful memoir that asks, how far would you go to find enlightenment? For Hannah, it was deceptively easy to fall down the rabbit hole. As she struggled with her mental health, she sought help in the form of wellness and self-care. After an eye-opening session with an energy healer, I think they're referring to Reiki here, which you should all stay far away from, Hannah was introduced to an organization that she was told would bring her further spiritual rewards. Enthralled by its charismatic leader and his teachings of a world filled with magic and meaning, she found herself sucked into a rigorous practice involving high control and financial outlay. And as her sense of reality began to slip, eventually resulting in hospitalization and diagnosis with bipolar, she realized she had fully ceded control of her life to this mysterious organization and thought, as she reckoned with the Hollywood career that conditioned her to give her body and soul over to others, maybe she had been doing that her whole life. So the people who are making excuses and saying this has nothing to do with acting, this has nothing to do with Hollywood, are going against Hannah Murray's own words and how she explained that this happened to her. It wasn't random. It is definitely related to like the psychological patterns that she was conditioned to through acting. And I'm sure that doesn't apply to all or even a majority of actors. Some of them are able to cope with it quite well. But especially for those of them that start out at a developmental period of their lives, like in their adolescent years and their childhood, I think you can also observe the same phenomenon with an Amanda Bynes. It definitely like fractures your identity. And a few of the guesses for what exact wellness cult she may be referring to were referred to on X. So the first guess was Concord Institute, and I hadn't heard of any of these groups before. The Concord Institute for Integral Studies is a nonprofit educational charity based in London, dedicated to promoting an integral model for health and well-being, emphasizing a body-mind approach that encompasses whole foods, bodywork practices, energetics, communication, self-expression, and creative arts. And that could literally mean anything. I have no idea what that means. It sounds like a cover for something a little bit dark, doesn't it? A second guess was the Landmark Forum, a 3-day personal development seminar offered by Landmark Worldwide, designed to help participants gain awareness of the basic structures in which they know, think, and act. Grounded in a model of transformative learning, the course aims to produce breakthroughs that expand what is possible in participants' personal lives, relationships, and professional performance. And another guess was Lighthouse, or Lighthouse International Group, or Lighthouse Global, a British organization founded in 2012 by Paul Waugh that has been classified as a cult by experts and exposed by an investigation by the BBC. The group, which presented itself as a life coaching and mentoring service, was found to use coercive control, isolation tactics, and financial exploitation to maintain power over members. It all pretty much is the same when you look at it from a bird's eye view. They all use the same tactics and use the same deceptive language. But, you know, I do think that there is something unique about Hollywood that like psychologically primes people to be malleable and emotionally open
Well, I mean,
And
they are that way by nature.
it's also,
You
like,
would
their
not. The
personality.
whole point of having a director on set is to take a malleable individual and bend them to their will so that they can get the performance out of them that they need, which is why I always bring up the point of how excited they get about disappearing into a character and bringing a character to life and not being judgmental of the character on the page, because they as an actor need to be able to perfectly embody all of the flaws and the positives of a character. It is a very mentally taxing thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think that some people are just naturally better at coping with it, but there's no way around that.
It's another one of the reasons why I tend to, outside of the logistical aspects of being an actor, hitting a mark at a specific time, learning to inflect the way in which a director wants, it's more than just playing pretend and learning how to fake cry. Right? There's more to it than that. You can't on one hand say that acting is psychologically damaging, but then also say it's just playing pretend. But a lot of people who tend to be very dismissive of Hollywood both dismiss the profession as a whole, but also pretend as if it's destroying people, which are contrary ideas. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, it reminds me of what Kristen Stewart was saying about method acting, that it is a way for some more like self-conscious or egotistical actors to run cover for what they're really doing.
Well, she was
Like, some
basically
actors
saying that,
really
like,
actually throw themselves into their performance, but when you employ method acting, you can make it seem like you are playing pretend, and that's in a way sort of a protective mechanism. It's to protect yourself.
Oh, I don't think of it as I don't think of it in that sense. I think it's like it gives a more grandiose idea to what they're doing. Therefore, it's easier to be silly if you feel like your process is of this grandiose nature. And that's why she kind of whittled that down to men. She said women are more willing to be silly and more willing to look stupid. Men, and she's not saying all male actors are like that, but the vast majority of method actors are men, and that's because they need to bring some type of elevated stature to what they're doing to really bring the performance to life. They're thinking of like Andy Kaufman and Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey and his behavior when that was being made. It's why people kind of erroneously came up with the idea that playing the Joker is what killed Heath Ledger, when that's not the truth.
What was the story that they came up with there?
Well, the idea was like he got addicted to pills and sleeping pills and opiates because he had to like descend into the character of the Joker. Which wasn't the case, or acting like Aaron Eckhart would tell the story, like when they were doing the scene in the hospital after Harvey Dent burns his face, how they were like laughing and joking between cuts and stuff like that, and he wasn't staying in character the whole time, and a lot of that stuff was done to kind of elevate the idea of what it means to be an actor, because it does sound good and it sells tickets to do that.
Yeah, I just think if you really whittle it down, it does seem like a way to protect what you believe to be your true identity from the performance. It's a way to just mentally separate the character from your true self.
I mean, if you think about it, it's like it's hard enough for the average person to feign being in a good mood when they're not in a good mood. And then imagine taking all the baggage of what it means to be a human being in a bad mood, and then go and not only have to pretend to maybe be in a good mood, but be in a vastly different place because you're not even playing yourself at that point. It can't be an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it seems like a way to dissociate and detach yourself.
There's a 20 here from Shane H. Wilder. Says, Cassie was one of my favorites in Skins, along with most of the first and second generation. What this cult did is horrendous. She was always so petite. I will recommend the movie Chat Room with her, Aaron Johnson, and Imogen Poots.
Yeah, I do recommend Skins. Like, I really liked that show, or at least the first and second generation of cast that they had. And it is interesting that a show that like so few people have seen created so many big stars. That's like where they got their start, and they did a really good job just casting from real teenagers, just doing street casting. That's how they did the auditions. And it feels a lot more real and organic than something like Euphoria or like a lot of different like teen dramas at the time as well used adult actors to play teenagers, and it just inherently feels fake.
I never saw it. I think I've seen ads for it, but I've never seen the show.
It's very celebrated, cult classic.
I think I've seen like is it on streaming? Like maybe that's where I saw the ads for it.
I'm not sure actually where it's at these days, but yeah, it's just weird how two of them ended up in a weird wellness new age spirituality cult. And although this story for Hannah Murray begins in the late 2010s, it seems, since then, all of this wellness, woo-woo, new age spirituality, energetic healing stuff, it's only gained traction since then. Like it only seems more prevalent than it was at the time. And I think a lot of that is just social media making it more visible, but it's also drawing more people in than otherwise would be genuinely part of those movements. And I mean, there's a certain level of woo-woo that is not going to ruin your life.
Wait, is woo-woo different than ooh-woo? Is woo-woo different than
very
ooh-woo?
Different.
Okay.
Woo-woo is more like, you know, grounding and meditation and you know, like it's like dipping your finger in a bunch of different spiritual practices, usually like Eastern medicine and stuff like that, but never really committing to any one of them.
Okay.
Just taking your favorite bits and pieces from all these different like spiritual traditions and appropriating them for your, you know, your Instagram aesthetic. But it does become a slippery slope very fast. And there are a lot of people in that space that want your loyalty and your money. And they probably are definitely like primed for cult-like behavior based on everything I've learned so far. And those groups that were listed as possible, like the cults that she possibly did join, they all sound the same. Like it's all about like breakthroughs. It sounds like Scientology when they get to clear, like there's always a goal that you never attain. You just have to keep giving more and more of your time and your money and yourself to this group, because there is, you know, an end point, but it's just perpetually out of reach.
Yeah.
And if you just give more, then you can maybe make it into the upper echelons, but it just never seems quite in reach.
Okay. All right. There's a cougar hunting epidemic going on. We need to learn about it.
I'm not sure if this is real or if this is a psyop being perpetuated by the media, but there have been a slew of think pieces related to this new dating trend where Gen Z men prefer dating older women instead of women their own age. And one of the popular theories as to why is that Gen Z women have such noxious hatred for men that they have to retreat to dating older women who don't hate them so much.
They look, the Snark, they're too busy on the Snark threads. Hold
Thank you guys.
All right.
And you know what was funny?
Let's roll it back and start this over. Let's roll it back and
get-
start it over, though. Let's start it over, just because I don't want to have to cut that out of there.
Okay,
We're gonna have to start the whole thing over.
So the New York Times posits that older women are in high demand by younger men. What a shift in the dating preferences of younger men reveals about our changing norms. And instead of asking any of the young men that they're talking about what they think, they put together a panel of said older women to discuss what this means.
Well, the theoretical is more interesting than actually getting answers from the younger guys.
Younger men are increasingly seeking out older women, and it's not just a dating trend. It's a shift in power, desire, and modern masculinity. They talk about why age gap relationships are so popular and whether they signal liberation, backlash, or something more complicated. So there is another piece in The Telegraph that theorizes Gen Z men have retreated to dating older women because they're not as toxically feminist. That older women just hate men less than Gen Z women do. It says Gen Z men feel hated by Gen Z women, so they are seeking less toxic relationships. They argue frustration in modern dating is pushing Gen Z men toward older partners in search of what they see as more stable relationships. So I am willing to admit that older generations of women are less bought into feminist ideology, but they more subscribe to a previous wave of feminism
I was gonna say
than the one we're on now.
Still absolutely feminism. It's just a
They are
different type
feminist.
of feminism.
Yeah. They're mostly second wave feminists. So they believe that, you know, women should have equal power in the workplace and equal pay, and they should be sexually liberated and wear whatever they want and hook up with whoever they want and feel unashamed of their sexuality. Like, all of these ideas are mainly second wave. Some call it liberal feminism or choice feminism. So millennial, Gen X, and boomer women are pretty much all bought in on that front. But Gen Z women are a totally different breed, and they actually do have statistically very negative views of men, not just men their own age, but men in general. It says 72% of men have a positive view of women, but 50% of women have a neutral or negative view of men. And 21% of women have an actively negative view of men. Only 7% of men feel the same way. For all the talk about manosphere-inspired misogyny, 3 times more women hold a negative view of men than the other way around.
Netflix and Louis Theroux told me that that's not true and said that the real... Same with adolescents. I've been reliably informed that the real issue here is Andrew Tate.
Right.
Which, by the way, which is not to say that the Andrew Tates of the world are not annoying or wrong, or at the very least overtly hyperbolic in a way that ends up being damaging to the average everyday person. But what it does show you is that it is a natural response. You know, it is something that exists because of the attitudes of young women.
Mm-hmm. Your individual perception of contemporary gender dynamics and the battle of the sexes definitely depends on what your algorithm is serving you. But the statistics show there is an asymmetry between young men and young women in their attitudes about the opposite sex. Mm-hmm. And it is women who have gone off the deep end for the most part. That's also true when you look at the political divide between Gen Z men and Gen Z women. Women are going far left. Men are pretty much staying around the same place politically as they were in like the 2000s when there was more gender parity on that front. You know, you would believe if you listen to Louis Theroux, for instance, that men are veering far right. That's only true for a very small portion, and they're very vocal online, but it's not statistically bearing out to have make a meaningful difference. So it is women who have mostly changed their attitudes in this short period of time, especially with the mass adoption of smartphones. So there were plenty of theories that I came across in discussions about this online. One person said, this is actually true. Lately, many of my girlfriends in their mid to late 30s have been telling me they're getting approached by early 20s men very confidently. What is going on? And you had a theory about this, Brett. Like, why is it if young men are so timid when it comes to approaching women, do they really feel this sudden boost of confidence when it comes to approaching an older woman?
I don't think it's a boost in confidence. I think what it is that when you approach a woman your own age, you're theoretically approaching them on an even playing field. And so the only thing you can feel is possible rejection or acceptance, depending on whether she says yes or no. And the fear of rejection is one thing, but then there's also those men that believe that she's going to cry, you know, assault or something like that, or post about it on X. But I think that there is something so inherently absurd about approaching a woman that's 20 years older than you that even if she says no, she'll get a kick out of it and be like, well, that's flattering, but no thanks. So it's almost like a built-in plot armor that prevents you from being embarrassed the same way as you would if you were to approach a woman your own age. And that would not necessarily work. I mean, maybe that would work in the same way for guys who approach a woman that's younger than them, because the woman might be, you know, if she's in her early 20s and he's older, she might think he's creepy or she might be flattered by it, but the general idea is she's going to think it's creepy. Right? She's going to think it's creepy, so they're not going to do that. It's going to be younger dudes approaching older women. And even if she says no, well, you know what? She's like, oh, you know, that was nice, but you made me feel very feminine, but no thanks. And it's kind of like you leave no worse than you were found.
Right. Yeah, the older men don't have the same advantage approaching younger women.
I mean, depending on their social status, but yeah.
For the most part, they're not going to get many responses to that. I would agree with that assessment that those women are not expecting it necessarily, so it's like a pleasant surprise. But I would also say these younger men, if they are, you know, I don't know anything about this firsthand, but if they are actually going up to all of these women in their like 30s and 40s with confidence and machismo, it might have something to do with the fact that they know they are, in that case, flirting down, dating down. It's sort of like a guy who's dating a chick who's like morbidly obese because he thinks he can't do any better than that. Like, of course, you're going to feel more confident when you think you measure up to her on a more equal playing field because she's older.
But that doesn't seem to be the answers that people are giving in this New York Times article. Like, there seems to be like generally like earnest reasons why they're doing it. Like, the dating app field reports huge growth in this area just in the past year. And this guy says, really, because of a toxic dating world, they all hate us. All social media is men is trash. You know who's not saying that? The older ones up there. So they feel an earnest sense of like, you know, these women aren't looking down on us the way women our own age are.
I don't know. Like, I've socialized with a lot of millennial and Gen X women lately, and like they love talking trash about men, but maybe that's just that crowd in particular. I'm sure it's true that younger women statistically have more negative views of men because of their social media consumption habits, but I don't know. It seems to be a problem across the board. Maybe they just have a little bit of relief from that when it comes to like women in their late 30s or 40s.
Well, Gen Z is in their mid 20s to 30s now, right? So they got to be talking about women in their 40s and 50s.
Well, I think that would cover like, I think the oldest Gen Z right now is like 30 or 31.
And remember that with, you know, not necessarily plastic surgery, but with the way that beauty products are now, women in their 50s don't look like women in their 50s. There's a reason why they show you the picture of the Golden Girls next to Salma Hayek and say what women used to look like in their 50s versus what women, obviously, which is, of course, a ridiculous example. But you get the point.
No, it's true, though. Yeah, people don't age as fast as they used to. And you look back and watch the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap. And if you see that scene, their dad's new girlfriend like tells them that she's 26. And you're like, oh, my gosh, that's what 26-year-olds used to look like?
26 the hard way.
That's insane. And she was beautiful and like didn't look old. It's just... people look a lot younger now.
Well, it's like when they show old pictures of Danny Glover when he was in his 30s and he looked 55 or 60.
That goes for everybody, yeah. There is a more simple explanation that these young men are just gold diggers and it's rough out here where the economy sucks and they want to date women who will foot the bill for them. One said, the young men are looking for sugar mamas. Single professional women with money on dating apps who are 38 to 42 have plenty of fairly aimless men around 25 to 32 chatting them up. So is it a cynical ploy to get their money, to not have to be a provider? Maybe there's less pressure on that front.
Well,
I don't know.
I
guess that those women are looking for men in their own age range and tax bracket, but can't find any because they're all taken or they're all divorced.
I assumed that there was at least a proponent of this that was like, just like the girls who become the sugar babies, or the girls who look for the more statistically successful men, maybe not for the reasons they're claiming, but the reason that that they're actually doing it, that there's a section of guys who are just like, look, she's got a career. I need a house to move into. Right. I'm sure there's a couple of guys like that. That's what you'd call a hobosexual, a guy with no home who wants to move in just because you got a place to live.
You would hope that they're still looking for love.
I would hope so.
A little part of them. Just a small part of them. There is also this piece in Vogue from a few months ago that I came across claiming that millennial women love Gen Z men. They said when Sarah, 41, told her friends things were getting serious with the 25-year-old she met on Bumble, they blurted out the obvious. He's 16 years younger than you. And if she hadn't already done the math, as if she hadn't already
She's
done
like,
the
holy
math.
crap, I didn't realize that.
I was exhausted from dating men in their 40s who were still too scared to commit, bitter from divorce, or emotionally shut down. When I matched with Leo, the 25-year-old, I thought it would be a fling, but after our first date, it was clear he was different. Not only was he fun and sweet, but he also had all this emotional awareness and lingo I'd spent the last decade learning in therapy. That's when I realized this generation grew up with this stuff.
It's
Do you think Gen Z has heightened emotional awareness, heightened empathy? I mean, I would say it's probably the opposite.
I think it's a heightened understanding of toxic therapist lingo, but that's just my cynical approach. Yeah, they have a lot of therapy speak. Also, the part where they're less cynical. Did she say something about like they're less cynical or something like that? What did she say at the beginning?
Basically, they have less baggage because
it's literally the manosphere argument in reverse, which is why you don't date the 40-year-old boss babe. You date the 20-year-old waitress because she doesn't have the baggage of the 40-year-old boss babe. It's just the womanosphere.
Right, but that's also why you don't choose to still be on the market at 41 with all of these problems in your own age group, right? Like, there are ways to prevent this. Sarah's experience, they claim, reflects a broader cultural shift. While Hollywood has long portrayed age gap relationships between older women and younger men through tired tropes, the predatory cougar, the horny teenager's fantasy, or worse, the desperate older woman, recent films like Bridget Jones signal that the narrative is finally changing. They also failed to mention Anne Hathaway's The Idea of You, where she's playing the single mom dating a pop star in his 20s, or the Jennifer Lawrence movie No Hard Feelings, where she's hired to take the virginity of a 19-year-old young man.
So is it predictive programming, or is it just Hollywood's response to a societal trend?
I wouldn't say it's Hollywood's. I wouldn't say that it's Hollywood reflecting back at society the trends that are already taking place, but it is reflecting a world where women have equal, if not more, significantly more power than men. Yeah. I mean, even that was observable in Nicole Kidman's movie Baby Girl, where she's playing the high-powered female executive who has a clandestine relationship with a younger junior employee. I mean, you observe stuff like this in porn too. I think people have done a lot of analysis of different porn tropes that trend throughout the years based on the state of the economy and politics and culture. So I think Hollywood is going to reflect the culture in the same way, but at the same time start seeding ideas that they want to popularize. And sterile relationships between postmenopausal women and hedonistic young men certainly sound like something Hollywood would love to popularize.
Mm-hmm.
A recent survey conducted by Bumble, the dating app for girls to make the first move, reveals that 59% of women are open to dating younger men, while sex educator Justin Lemiller's research in Psychology of Women Quarterly found that older women in relationships with younger men report the highest satisfaction among age gap couples. That's quite shocking. Still, it should be mentioned that age gap couples are still very rare. Like, I don't think anybody realizes this because you spend so much time looking at social media.
Mm-hmm.
It would make you think it's more
The average
common.
is like, what, 3 to 5 years at the max for most?
The average is 2.5 years for married couples in this country. And that even is shocking, like that there is that small of an average gap. It's kind of weird, actually. Like, are people all marrying their high school sweethearts? We know.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, no. I mean, is it just that they end up going to college and meeting somebody in college?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the major reasons why that happens. And also, college-educated women are getting married more than non-college educated women on average by far, and staying married for longer. That's another, thing that you wouldn't really guess if you were consuming all of your information about dating trends in society from social media, where everything is about, trad wives versus OnlyFans.
Well,
all these things that are just like comically detached from reality.
Well, it's because if you went into the real world and tried to have this conversation with somebody, they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. I don't go around in public and see a lot of age gap relationships, period. Mm-hmm. But when I do, it's usually older guy with a younger woman. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it that often to begin with. I'm not going around and seeing a lot of older women with boy toys in their 20s. That's just not something I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. But Vogue and the New York Times and the Telegraph and Hollywood are telling you this is the big new thing in dating, and they're just insisting on it a little bit too strongly. Like, I'm gonna need some more convincing, first of all, that this is actually happening, but secondly, that this is a good idea. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have a lot of advice or dating insight for young men anyway. I have no idea what that's like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My first instinct was like, it's hard out there economically. Just, but that was just me. That
they're just gold diggers.
Not even gold diggers. Just like maybe it's just like they're building their own life and they're with somebody who's also stable. And it's something like that. Not every situation has to be so black and white or extreme. Is like she makes all the money and he just sits around and does nothing. Maybe it's she's got a good job and he's in grad school.
Yeah. This is something that came up, I think, on one of the episodes last week, that women's priorities for potential spouses or long-term partners have drastically shifted. They don't... because of their financial standing and social standing in society now, they don't need a man to survive financially.
So they can choose for different reasons. They can get married for different reasons.
They're looking for, first of all, like, I think what I mentioned last week is that looks are more important to women than ever. That's a really weird situation.
I was always told that women are the less shallow gender, so that is just shocking.
Well, we're in a very unique time and in mostly bad ways. So yeah, I think they are looking for reportedly looks. Emotional intelligence was another one that was listed as one of the highest.
So what they mean by emotional intelligence, by the way, is that you use all of the pre-approved therapist lingo that she uses, as long as the therapist lingo that you're using reinforces her worldview.
Yeah. So I guess they're just looking for a guy who was raised on TikTok.
Yeah, that's
and
what it is.
Uses the terms gaslighting and love bombing.
Love bombing. What are some of the other terms that they use? There's a lot of them though, but those are the big ones that I think of. Mostly gaslighting.
Breadcrumbing is.
Oh, yep, we did that. What was the one we did last week? Seagulling.
Seagulling. Yeah, that's another one.
I don't think the therapists are actually using those words. Now we're just using TikTok terms, but you get the point.
Yeah, they blend together seamlessly.
Yep.
Yeah, let us know, guys. Are you in relationships with women 20 years older than you?
Is she paying for grad school for you? Let us know.
Is she paying on dates? What's going on?
All right.
Not plugged in.
Let's go to Super Chats then.
Katie said the guy welcoming Aussies to our own country on Anzac Day celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, the state of Australia.
What is Anzac Day? What is that?
I was wondering the same thing. Let's just find out.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Okay, it is a national day of remembrance in Australia and New Zealand that broadly commemorates Australians and New Zealanders who died in all wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping operations.
Okay.
So it's like their July 4th, maybe? I don't know.
We've got some Rumble rants here from Broody Gambit. Says Gina Carano was a villain in Deadpool. I completely forgot about that until I read this before. Yeah, she was. She was in the first Deadpool movie.
Oh, yeah.
As for a villain in DC, she could be Giganta. I'm going to go ahead and stick with my Black Canary. And then we've also got one more here. Says, the local Wendigo says, I had an ex who was stupid enough to threaten over text. She can post a fake charge on me and people will believe her. I am actually a bit traumatized about crazy women, all because I was focused on classes. I'm assuming by classes you mean like school.
I'm sorry that happened to you. Yikes.
That sounds horrible.
Well, don't let it prevent you from being open to a new relationship in the future, though. Shane H. Wilder said, talking about the triple-double while I'm eating one. All right, drop your review then. I think it was like the size of a normal Crunchwrap. I detected no difference.
We got Taco Bell over the weekend, and it was one of those things where it's just like, even when they give you like a lot of ingredients, it's still so minimal to me that by the time I was done, I looked back in the bag for another taco, and I was like, no way I ate all of them.
But that's what I love about Taco Bell. It's like you just start adding stuff to your bag and you just get like an assortment of things instead of one.
I'm sorry, but the cheesy gordita crunch is so expensive now. It's cost prohibitive. It was like, granted we had it delivered, but it was
that does inflate the price.
But that comes in the form of delivery fees. Like I don't like it was like $7.50. Like I'm not doing that. I'm getting a
not even a Crunchwrap is that much.
It was it was the cheesy gordita, and the point was that I was just like, no way. So I got 2 Doritos Locos tacos and then 3 soft shell tacos. That's it. And then when I was done, I was like, I'm still hungry.
It's weird how we were like psychically connected though, and like decided to order it at basically the same time. I want to fact check you though, because that just does not sound right for the cheesy.
If Olivia's in the chat, what was the
I'm looking at it right now, and it says it's $5.29.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking of something different.
I don't know what's happening.
Whatever it was, I was like, I saw the number 7, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Not many things on the menu are that expensive. Yeah. I think it's still probably the cheapest and best fast food. I stand by that. Corey Anderson said, who in the flying F is going to pay to see that Star Wars shit show?
Apparently 70 million people.
Well,
I'm sorry, $70 million worth of people.
Yeah. I don't know. Not me. I saw this tweet earlier. It was like a quote tweet of a recent photo of Pedro Pascal where he was looking quite aged, actually. And they said, I can't believe we all fell for that psyop a couple of years ago where everyone was saying that he was the hottest man alive. Like,
that's still going on.
Who is we? Because I certainly never fell for that. Not even for a second. You know what it really is? It's the fact that people are so homophobic. His secret is out. Everyone knows that he's gay now. So they're not going to go to see his movie. And I think that is disgusting and bigoted.
It would have not mattered anyways. Nobody was going to see this movie anyways. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe the cheesy gordita crunch was $5.79 and it was the either way. I was probably
Well,
like
seven.
But the thing is like
it's not something you want to see.
I know that I'm going to eat more than 2 and at that price I'm not doing that.
But everyone knows that you don't go to Taco Bell for tacos. Those things are like eating a piece of paper.
I like the Doritos
Go for
Locos
the
tacos. We went and then we got like Mexican on Sunday as well. So on Saturday we got Taco Bell, on Sunday we got Mexican because the Taco Bell
on Saturdays we get fake Mexican and on Sundays we get real Mexican.
Exactly. And then
it's about variety.
And I got and I got a burrito on Sunday, so that way I made up for it.
Good for you. You earned that.
I did.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Oh shit, for a second I thought Melania was here."
I told you that was a really accurate. It wasn't meant to be rude. It was just I was like, she can do a really good Melania, so you should do the Melania impression.
I love her accent. No hate intended whatsoever. She's an icon. Junie said Melania is from the same area of Slovenia that my Oma was from, Gotchi. So I will always have that woman's back, period.
Okay.
That's right, sis. It's Slovenian solidarity. Solidarity with your Slovenian sister. Robert Delera said, does this mean we have to go through a whole week of Jimmy Kimmel crying? Plus, if PCC gets 5 super chats, can we have Mary do a whole show of Melania impersonation? It was pretty good.
I mean, that would be very difficult. First of all, I think you mean 5 crisis parties, not super chats.
Yeah.
At the very least,
difficult, guys.
At the very least, you could do the intro to every segment in the Melania voice.
It's easier reading something that she already said, though. You know,
because you can like sound it out in your head.
I loved like,
who gives a fuck about the Christmas stuff? But you have to do it, right?
It's important.
Iconic.
See, she has to understand that it is important.
Also, we were going to go through a whole week of Jimmy Kimmel crying regardless, because that's just what he's doing. That's his regular schedule. Shane H. Wilder said Mary quotes Melania in her voice, but Brett won't quote Trump in his voice.
I don't do a good Trump impression, so it wouldn't make any sense.
Everyone does a Trump impression and thinks it's the best one on the planet.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think most people would. I would hope that most people would understand that they're probably not good at it.
I know I'm not, but Melania, I think I got that one down pat. Weary Traveler said Brad and Marissa. Yep, that's us. Yep. In a parallel universe, are we Brad and Marissa?
The only Marissa I can think of is either Marissa Tomei, and I think Marissa was the name of Marissa Cooper from the OC. But you don't want to end up like Marissa Cooper from the OC.
In another life, you are Chad Bradford.
There you go. Like I still think that the best character in that was the one appearance from Chad Michael Murray, because his name is Chad Michael Murray. He belongs in that show.
Shane H. Wilder said, if the things you read online are upsetting you, causing you dark thoughts, then log off and do something else for a while. You'll feel better.
You will. You absolutely will.
See, this is great advice, but when people hear it, it's not the first time they've heard it, and they're not gonna listen.
Most of the time, they will not. No.
Because it's like, I don't know. I think people just get stuck in these self-destructive cycles. I'm not gonna lie. I have, first of all, used Reddit for like researching topics that we cover on the show, and I don't like it. But I have like perused these Snark threads before, and then it starts out as me actually trying to learn about what's going on, like learn about a story, and then I end up like, 7 threads deep into like someone's relationship drama, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Also, I like just posted a couple of times on Reddit. I'm not even gonna say where I posted.
Is it the one you told me about?
Yes, I
Okay.
told Brett about this, and I had a harrowing experience where I was mobbed by a bunch of psycho Marxists for literally no reason. Maybe one day, after I emotionally process the trauma of what happened to me, you will know the full story. But people on there, like the average Redditor who actually posts on there instead of just lurking, is absolutely psychotic. Like, these people need help. Pop Culture Junkie, I think you read that one earlier. Carnell said the vast majority of people get the order of events and what prompted Gina's firing. Her 2020 Beep Bop Boop tweet was what triggered her Disney firing.
I thought that triggered the struggle session, the attempted struggle session.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the domino effect of what happened, but the struggle session didn't lead to her being convinced to post an apology.
I thought she didn't do the struggle session. I thought she refused to do it.
Well, I think instead they sent someone over to her house, right?
Like something like that. Like she didn't want to do the 40-person Zoom call where everybody yells at her.
Yeah, they sent somebody over to her house in real life, and then she, chose not to post an apology, and that was the condition on which she got to keep her job or lose it. So she essentially, fired, but like, you didn't fire me, I quit, from the way that I interpreted it.
Yeah.
Robert Delara said, if they ever did an updated Xena warrior princess, Gina Carano would be a good choice.
Yes, she would.
How is that not already happening? They've rebooted everything else.
That's a good question. That would be an interesting one because I am, from what I understand, Lucy Lawless, who played Xena, probably would dislike Gina Carano on principle from everything that I've seen. In fact, I think I remember at one point they said we should bring in Lucy Lawless to play Cara Dune, and she was like, I'm on board, or something like that.
So as a recasting of
Yeah,
Cara
like,
Dune?
yes. Yeah.
Oh. But they didn't end up wanting to keep her in the show?
I mean, I think that was more just online posturing. It was never actually something that was going to happen, but yeah, I'm assuming Lucy Lawless would not like Gina Carano.
Corey Anderson said, if you want to heal yourself, all you need to do is accept Christ's love. I endorse this message. I, Mary Morgan, endorse this message. Yes.
Lucy Lawless, this is from 5 years ago. Lucy Lawless says Mandalorian fan campaign to replace Gina Carano hurt chances of Star Wars gig. So it says, this is really funny. So it says, after Gina Carano got fired by Lucasfilm, an abundance of Mandalorian fans on social media immediately started championing Lucy Lawless to take over the role of Cara Dune. Lawless is an action icon thanks to her role as the title character on Xena Warrior Princess. Carano played Cara Dune on the first 2 seasons, blah, 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 blah. They mentioned the comments. And then she says, she had an interview with Metro where she was actually circling a different Star Wars adjacent role at the time. I don't know what Star Wars adjacent means. She said the fans urging her for the Mandalorian casting might have cost her a trip to Star Wars, to the galaxy far, far away. I didn't want to do their stupid editorial. Well, to be honest with you, I was already in discussions about something on, it wasn't the Mandalorian, something Star Wars affiliated, she said. The fan campaign might have hurt me in some way because then Lucasfilm couldn't hire me because it would seem to be pandering to them. So they tried to do good, well, at least in their mind, do good, and they did bad because they were already doing bad anyways by being dicks to Gina Carano.
Well, that recasting would have been a historical downgrade.
Yes.
So overall, better that it didn't happen. Shane H. Wilder said actors who got their start on Skins: Nicholas Hoult, Joe Dempsey, Dev Patel, Jack O'Connell, Kaya Scodelario, etc. Yeah, they had a lot of talent that ended up finding success after the show. Can't be said of a lot of other teen dramas. But I guess would it be Nicholas Hoult that became the most famous of the list?
That sounds right.
Yeah. Some of them kind of fell off. afterwards, or like lost interest.
That seems to be the name that's the most of all the. Dev Patel too. Dev Patel is pretty successful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just see him less often in like theatrical releases. Robert Delara said, dating is a challenge, but it's not supposed to be easy. But when you do meet that special person, it makes it all worth it. That's such a positive sentiment. Why can't we have more of this?
We need more positivity in here.
Yeah. Weary Traveler sent
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tomatoes because of the last topic. Weary Traveler was very opinionated about how bad the last topic was. So
why?
Don't know.
Did he disagree with what was the disagreement?
Just said time to move on. Move on to something else. This is boring.
All right. We get it. Mad Stork said, shout out to Cinnabear out there grinding rails in those skates.
I don't know who Cinnabear is.
Is that a new nickname for Brett? I don't know.
If so, I love it. Perfect.
Cinnabear.
I'll take it.
Corey Anderson said, Brett, what did you get OC for her B-Day?
Okay. So
if you're at liberty to share.
I'm at liberty to share. So I got her a Snoopy shirt because she loves Snoopy. And nice. I bought her just about every Snoopy shirt that exists. What else did I get her? What was it? Oh, a Snoopy phone charging. It's a Snoopy. It's like Snoopy's house, his like hut, and the phone leans up against it. It's a wireless charger.
Oh, nice.
That was a really.
Does it
really
have oh my gosh, what is the bird's name?
It does not have what's his name?
What's that name?
Wow, I'm completely blanking on me right
now. How did I forget that?
Woodstock. It did not. I don't think it has Woodstock. It might. I don't know. I have to look at it when I get home. And then I got her a large jigsaw puzzle of the Detroit Lions Stadium because she loves puzzles. And my life hack, as I was explaining to you earlier, I hate wrapping presents. I hate it. I do. So I hide the gifts around the apartment and then have her do a scavenger hunt. And then on Saturday we went out to again to the mall in Tyson's Corner and went out around there to a bunch of places. So it was fun.
Greg Duvier said, make your own damn tacos, cheaper and more tasty.
Okay, but here's the thing. I don't want to at 9 p.m. make my own tacos. We could do that. We don't eat, and that's the thing. We don't eat out. We don't eat out during the week. We eat out on the weekends, and that's because during the week we try to be disciplined and eat at home. On the weekend, it's late. You know what? There it is. We're gonna order Taco Bell.
Yeah. Why else would anyone ever eat out ever if they if that weren't a thing? Like if people didn't feel like being lazy sometimes, restaurants wouldn't exist. Shane H. Wilder said, the triple double I had was actually huge with double everything. I think your Taco Bell was being stingy. The cheesy gordita crunch is $5.19 near me. They're doing surge pricing.
Oh, that's the worst. Doesn't
make sense.
There's a really funny a chat here, even though it's not a super chat, from Katie. It says, Brett, have you taken her to Valley Fair in Minnesota since it's Peanuts themed? So we wanted to do that once because there's there's the official Snoopy store there. And unfortunately it was off season and Valley Fair was closed, so we couldn't go. At that time, it wasn't open. That part of the store wasn't open. She was crushed because we were we only go home to visit every once in a while. But also, at the Mall of America, there used to be what was called Camp Snoopy. It's not called Camp Snoopy anymore. It's the park there with all the rides. The Mall of America has rides indoors, and it used to be Snoopy themed.
Wow. I want to visit the Mall of America someday.
The thing is when you grow up going there, it kind of loses its, you end up speed running every time. You go to the stores you want to go to, and then you leave. I don't need to go to So What. I'm not going to So What.
Wait, what is that?
It's like a sewing store.
Oh.
It's like,
okay.
So What?
Well, it would be my first visit, so I think.
Yeah, like when Olivia went for the first time, we definitely took our time walking around, and it's just like it was still pretty busy. Like for a mall, like I know that malls are supposedly going out of style, but every time I go to the mall now, feels like they're plenty busy to me.
Boston said $2 for the correct Karen Ghosts. What is that? Frolin?
I can't see
Karen, 10 out of 10. I don't know what that word means. Thanks, I think. Brian Bledsoe said, when I was around 25, I was with a woman 15 years older than me. I'm 45 and still remember that night of 25th birthday with her. But what happened? What went wrong?
Why did it
Didn't
fall
work
apart?
out? Are we done oversharing for today? I don't know. Corey Anderson said, I do not watch TV or movies. However, the show Tires is hilarious. I am surprised they allowed it to be made. The HR episode is peak.
I've never seen it. Never
I
heard
haven't
of
heard
it.
of that show.
Guys,
you don't watch TV or movies, period? How is that possible?
It's impressive though.
That's crazy.
It's so funny whenever like I post about the shows that because that's like look, I criticize, like I quote tweet a lot, right? Like Variety posts an article, I quote tweet, but for the most part, if it's a tweet that I'm constructing that's got nothing to do with like news, it's usually about stuff that I like, and it's always surprising to me how annoyed people get when I like stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've done several posts about the show High Potential, which I love. There have been a couple episodes that I thought got really cringy with the feminism. One was very clearly because it was like International Women's Day when it came out, so it went all in on the rah sisterhood stuff. But for the most part, I feel like it's a lot of fun, and people get so angry when you like something. It's really it's fascinating.
It causes them personal pain.
Like, I feel like that's the argument they make on the other side of the aisle. Like, when people criticize... Like, I don't want a person who likes Star Wars these days to feel like they shouldn't like Star Wars, even if other people don't like it. Like whatever you want to like and learn to discount the opinions of people who are telling you can't like something because it doesn't live up to their expectations. And usually when they tell me something's bad, they're like, it's woke. And I'm like, why? They're like, because there's women in it.
Well, you did admit that there were feminist episodes.
But the thing is, the person's like, I watched one episode and it sucked. Well, okay, so like my sample size is vastly larger, and the point was like they were like, oh, they had the white male lead was whiny. I'm like, well, the white male lead is not white, so I unless there's another one that I'm not. Daniel Sunjata is not a white dude. And then they're like the DEI black female like lieutenant. I'm like, that's been a trope for as long as I can think of in these types of shows. Castle had the same thing. Everybody loved those characters. That's not enough of a reason for me to turn it off. Like a character being of a different race isn't enough for me to turn a TV show off. Like, but if the characters start becoming all about woe is me and my life is so difficult, I will turn that off no matter who it is because it's annoying writing. But it just feels very short-sighted to me. Like you looked at it for 10 minutes and then just turned it off. And that's
but you do that.
Yeah, but I don't then tell other people. I don't complain when other people like it.
Yeah.
I understand that my value judgment on this show is purely my own, and that's fine.
Well, people hating on you for liking stuff is just going to be your cross to bear. It's a character building exercise.
Though, to be fair, nobody's hating on the Amish mystery show. They're just like, that's just the most Brett.
They're just like, you're weird.
Yeah,
scroll.
Basically, they're just like, yeah, that's the most Brett thing I've ever heard.
Anyways, Shane H. Wilder said, I only go to PCC subreddit. I got banned from Catholic memes for making a he's just like me meme when Pope Francis called out the, I
can't
guess
say
we'll
that
just
word.
say F slurs, LOL gay. That sucks. I bet the mods are on a power trip. That trope of the Reddit mod proves itself right time and time again. I think I got one of my posts banned from the Catholic dating subreddit, actually, because they're super strict too.
Also, I should be fair. I'm being a little bit unfair. When people say those critiques, usually they're just saying why they didn't like it. And I tend to just assume that their threshold for turning it off just seems low to me for the most part. Like, they're not like telling me I'm stupid for liking it. That does happen sometimes. You get like really aggro people who are like, how dare you? Like, why would you give money to, it's the people who say, why would you give money to people who hate you? Like, these people want you dead. That's what they're thinking, which is just, I can't deal with that. But for the most part, it's like, yeah.
Well, I don't know. The only time that I've gotten any sort of response like that for liking something has been about Twilight. When people just thinking that Twilight is creepy. But you like way more things than I do.
Though I will say that over the weekend, this is a fun one, I effed around and found out because I went to watch the pilot for ER. Because I was like, look, ER is one of the most important television shows ever made. It launched it was one of the launching points for George Clooney. Pioneered a lot of things in the medical procedural field, and watched episode 1, and like Olivia, who hates medical shows, got into it, like not even the whole episode, came in like halfway through because it was like a 2-hour episode, and we sat down and watched like half of season. We're already halfway through season 1. It's really, really good. A little bit too much already in the relationship. Like, all the doctors are freaking kissing each other and stuff like that. But the medical, like the cases and the consequences of like life in a Chicago hospital are at least pretty interesting.
But isn't that the one that you also ruined for yourself by searching people on IMDb?
Yes, and found out they were all communists. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't ruin the show for me. If anything, I just find it fascinating because it's more indicative of just how far left Hollywood has always been.
True. Pop Culture Junkie said, keep hearing Kathleen Kennedy's unreleased emails about Carano were real doozies. Great fodder for discovery in a trial. Reason for Carano's big bye-bye check. Interesting. But I didn't look at the update on that trial ever, and now it's over with. Sounded like. Weary Traveler said, get the grilled cheese burrito next time, Brett. Have you tried that one?
No. Is there no ground beef in it? Just grilled cheese?
No, there is. It's all the normal stuff, but there's like, it's dumb.
That's a horrible name then.
It bears no similarities to a grilled cheese sandwich, if that's what you're wondering. They just grill it with cheese on it, so there's like cheese on top. Which makes it like messy to eat. It's not, I never really get it.
Oh, it was like, so when I got the burrito when we went and got Mexican on Sunday, they put the enchilada sauce on top, which I never liked.
Yeah,
then I have to
hate that.
Then I have to eat it with a fork as opposed to with my hands.
Yeah, every time I get authentic Mexican food, I'm just like, my hands are like covered in sauce. And
to be fair, it was incredible. And I would do. I was like, I want another one, but I can't do that right now. Now that I'm up to an average of 900 steps, 9,000 steps a day. I'm approaching that average of 10,000, wanting to get 10,000 steps a day. But it is unemployed behavior because I have to go on like a precipitously long walk.
Was how I
when I get home from work, I have to take an extended walk to get those steps in, and it means that anytime I do IRL, I'm not gonna get like any steps in that day.
Well, they should just provide you with a microphone that you can walk around the room with while the show is currently running.
Like a track. A track that goes around the room.
Around the table. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Like, I think that would really add a dynamic element to the set.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said, have Vera on again, please. She thought she might not be invited back soon because she disagreed with Mary's pragmata take.
I don't think
there'd be no reason to think that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, the thing is like it would normally be either a bonus episode, because that's when I record that content, or it would be on a Tuesday or a Thursday, I would absolutely have Vera back on. I don't know how long it's been since she was on. The thing is I'm always like, it's a weird time of day to ask people to have to do something. Especially, if they're full-time YouTube, that's one thing, which Vera is. But a lot of times, it's like, hey, do you want to like miss some work and come do this show with us? Like, that's one thing when we flew people in studio. Right. It's another thing in these cases, but I'll absolutely reach back out to Vera and have her back on soon, because the episode we did was like a Thursday episode. It was great. Like, same with the Chrissy Mayer episode was really great when she was on. But it's like, I'm always terrified that we're gonna have internet troubles with people, so I've kind of relegated remote episodes to bonus content where I don't have to worry about if something goes wrong with an internet. Does that make sense? Like, if something goes wrong with the internet connection and I'm pre-recording, I can just edit it out. But as you guys saw what happened in the early days when we moved remote, there was like times where people were getting kicked from the live room, and I'd just be sitting here going, for 12 minutes while like things resolve themselves. And I'm not particularly looking forward to repeating that thing happening again, but I will reach out to Vera.
Cool. Penamite said, I fell into a Snark sub a year ago for Swift and Kelsey. At first, I thought it was funny, but then I realized Snark was a whole thing. It's very female QAnon-y.
QAnon-y?
It really is. It is QAnon for women. But like less interesting. Yeah. And the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey one, it's like dedicated to them both as a couple. That's one of the most popular Snark subs that I learned about. Crazy stuff. But, I mean, I guess it's like if you just use it casually and not as like a second life online, it's not as bad.
We've got a Rumble rant here from Half-Baked Treehouse. Says, late as usual, but apropos to charging wirelessly, Mustache was a homosexual for a couple of years.
Oh.
Okay. And then says,
we don't have any story to go with that? No context?
The things those cougar baronesses made my mustache do. Stay toxic, my friends.
Oh my gosh.
You should write a book in that case.
We're getting all the lore today.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, when I hit up the mall, it is always busy as F.
Yep.
Really? I've been to some pretty dead malls, but I just figure in Nashville things are busy because this place is like
crowded.
I think 8 families move to Nashville per day, which is insane and kind of scary.
Pat the Plumber has been a member for 2 months now. He says, hey, 2-month chat.
Thank you,
whoop,
Pat
whoop.
the Plumber. Weary Traveler said, I would like to overshare, please.
I mean, you're always welcome to. Can't guarantee we'll read it.
Permission granted, but yeah, I'm not going to guarantee reading it out loud. Greg Duvier said, it will always be Camp Snoopy. I refuse to call it Nickelodeon Universe. The rides were better also, like the Mighty Axe.
Yep.
Corey Anderson said, because Cocaine Bear was the best thing Hollywood will ever make, and I still haven't forgiven them for Cats, I get most of my entertainment from YouTube. I think that describes a lot of people, honestly. They're just like quietly given up on watching new stuff. It's not the same thing as boycotting. It's apathy.
It's funny too, because like now I'm in this kind of rebound phase where there's shows I like, where I'm like on pins and needles waiting to see if RJ Decker is going to get renewed. And it's not the same as what it was when when TV was in its peak years, and I was really excited for every show in like 2012 or 2013 and waiting for renewals and stuff like that. But it's still nice to care enough about shows again to like check to see if it's getting renewed or not.
Brian Bledsoe said, if I explain what happened that night of the 25th birthday with her, Mary will say I'm not reading that.
Valid.
Okay. Better that we leave that to ourselves. Boss N said, Fraulein is a compliment. It's German for young lady.
Oh.
Okay. I don't know if I want to take your word for that, but sure. Robert Delara said, if Gen Z men start hanging out at senior citizen centers trying to pick up women, then the whole dating structure needs to be reevaluated.
Look, the boomers won't give up anything. Oh, your microphone cut out. Microphone cut out. The boomers won't give up anything. Even the single boomers won't give up the dating market. They're staying at their jobs too long. They're not retiring. And now we're seeing that even the boomers aren't giving up on the new dating market. It's a bad time to be a millennial or Gen Z or even Gen X in some cases. We got one here from Penamite. It says Heath Ledger acting urban legend was legit. Rocket fuel for the Dark Knight box office. Was legit rocket fuel for the Dark Knight box office. I still forget it's fake and have to be reminded. Thanks, Brett. Yeah, that was what fueled the interest in the Dark Knight when it came out. Like it really was, because he died prior to the movie coming out. And I've long since contended that I don't think it makes $1 billion if Heath Ledger doesn't die, even though the movie is that good. But it contributes to the lore.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, I just wanted to check. Greg Duvier said no crime in the left lane when you see turtles.
When you see turtles.
Agree.
So the thing about the Amish show that I'm watching, instead of paying for HBO Max, where there might be some shows that people actually watch, I have Hallmark Plus.
You pay for Amish Max.
I pay for Hallmark Plus.
Amish Plus.
And Up Faith and Family. It's on Up Faith and Family.
You know what? Good for you.
Though I'm not gonna lie.
Your version of being a hipster.
I canceled the Hallmark one, and I'll re-up when I want to get back to that level of pleasant feminism. That's what I call it. Pleasant. It's pleasant feminism. It's not mean-spirited feminism. It's aw shucks feminism. We're like, oh, my husband, he tried to fix the sink and he couldn't do it. Aw shucks, he's such
God love him.
Yep.
Corey Anderson said, Brett, can you have Blabs from Side Scrollers on as a guest?
Yes, absolutely. One of the traps that I fall into is I don't know how much because our topics are always such a grab bag where it's like I had Blabs on and we had a lot of fun talking Harry Potter for literally almost 2 hours. But I'm like, do I want to submit a person to have to talk about 5 things that are vastly different? And then, because we've had guests on where it's like, you could tell, you look at their face, they're like, what the fuck do these people talk about every day?
With guests, especially when we had them on all the Fridays, somehow it usually seemed to work out really well, where there'd be this confluence of things going on that day or week
that interested
they
them.
Were particularly interested in. I don't know if it was just us paying more attention for things that they wanted to talk about, or it was just actual luck. But that tended to happen, so we could kind of curate the episode for their interests.
I will reach out to both Blabs and Vera and have them on very soon.
Pat the Plumber said that ex-Amish show post was peak Dasovic. Is Toast also a female cat, or do you have a brother in arms?
Toast is a female cat.
It's all women.
I also not only did I post about it, I started live tweeting about what was going on. I'm like, oh shit, somebody stole Aunt Agnes's quilt. They're on the case.
Jethro is on a joyride.
Levi is under suspicion for stealing Agnes's quilt.
Corey Anderson said turtles commit crimes in the fast lane.
That is true. Toidles.
And Brett, are you a Wild fan, or do you still root for the North Stars?
I don't pick I guess I would be a Wild fan because I'm from Minnesota, so I would like to see them win. I do still well, it's been a long time since I've had the money to invest in memorabilia, but I still buy vintage North Stars hats when I have the inclination. I don't wear a lot of hats these days, so I don't really need to, but I collect North Stars stuff, not Wild stuff.
Shane H. Wilder said there is a restaurant here that does smothered burritos. They are called Big As Yo Face burritos and are 2 pounds, and you need a knife and fork.
I mean, that's what I ate my burrito with, was a fork, but mainly just because I didn't want to get the enchilada sauce in my hands.
That would just piss me off. I don't want a huge wet burrito. I want Taco Bell. I'm always just going to want Taco Bell more.
I want both.
So it's like giving gimmicky millennial Instagram food, honestly. No offense if you're into that, I guess. Antonio Lucero said, drink cast brew coffee, Mary's Ghost Blend. thank you for shilling my coffee so that I don't have to.
Do you mean that
I might as
ghost
well
blend?
take this opportunity. Yeah, I might as well take this opportunity to tell you to go to castbrew.com and grab yourself a bag of Mary's Ghost Blend, my s'mores flavored coffee. Doesn't matter that it's not Halloween yet. It's Halloween all year.
Link is in the description, or is in the live chat and the description.
Is the link always in the description, or is it just like when we remember?
I think it's when we remember.
We should be better at this.
And then we've got one more here from Shane H. Wilder. He says he isn't lying. Froline, is it Froline? Is a young lady? Somebody in the said it's like Frau or like FROW.
Look, I'm not German. I don't know this stuff.
Yeah.
I believe you though.
Says he says he isn't lying. It's is a young lady. Source 2 years of German classes in Swedish. It would be, is it, how do you pronounce that word? Flicka?
Flicka? I don't know. What a weird language.
Weirdos, am I right? What are you, from an international school? All right. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, would you all hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the episode out with everybody that you know. The ones you like and the ones you hate. The more people to you share the show with, the faster it can grow. Mary, where can they find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram, that is Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X, that is also Mary Archived, and help me get TikTok famous, that is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is a great way to help us out. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisispod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see y'all then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.